This is Woburn Safari Park, home to some of the most endangered wildlife on the planet. 600 animals, 76 different species. For the first time, the park allows access all areas, from dangerous carnivores to fragile newborns, in unparalleled close encounters. In today's program, a young eland calf hits the ground running as she takes her first steps into the park's African plain. But will she survive the stampede? The giraffe males begin sparring, a behavior that can lead to serious injury or even death. And 17-year-old bull elephant Raja has a pedicure that's not for the faint-hearted. Woburn's 300-acre estate is split into enclosures that emulate the natural habitat for each species. Here, on the African plain, roam Chapman zebra, southern white rhino, and the largest antelope in the world, the eland. 6 weeks ago, one of the oldest females gave birth to a calf named Limber.
They're doing very well, considering she's a 15-year-old female, has never calved before. She's managed to rear her very well, so we're quite pleased with her.
The calf is almost ready to be weaned.
The calves will suckle from their mum for a few weeks. They will start picking at feed, so obviously when we put feed out, pasture nuts for the female, the calf will pick at that, and it'll also start picking at the grass and the hay.
In the wild, eland are the vulnerable prey of many carnivores, such as lions and hyenas. Even though there are no predators in their enclosure, danger lurks.
She's separated from the rest of the group at the minute because we have Chapman zebra out in the section, and they're particularly aggressive to young calves. We find as soon as they spot the calf, they're in there as a group and they chase it, and obviously that exhausts the calf, and then we don't want them getting the calf because they will stamp on it.
The park has witnessed this violence close up before. Recently, a calf was chased and had its tail mauled by one of the zebras. To avoid infection, emergency surgery was necessary. Mum Tess has sharp 80-centimeter long horns to defend her calf, but the eland also rely on the other members of their herd to help them protect their young.
Naturally in the wild, females will come together and protect them. They're obviously a very large antelope, so they're not designed to run particularly fast, so they'll defend an animal together.
It's best if mother and calf join the herd as soon as possible, but the keepers need a plan to ensure the young eland is safe.
Once she's ready to come out with the calf, we'll open up the gates. We'll have extra patrol drivers out there just in case. We'll monitor the behaviour and keep an eye on the zebra and intervene where necessary.
The calf's release is scheduled for later today. One of the largest pride of lions in the UK has recently lost 2 of its members. Troublesome sisters Tia and Brandy have been aggressive, especially to lower-ranking Tallulah. 3 days ago, they were sedated and sent to another pride. The park manages the dynamics amongst the lions with a carefully controlled breeding program. There can only be one alpha male, Shane. The park's 3 other males have been castrated, which prevents them from growing a mane. Woburn is hoping for a lion birth. Only one lioness will be allowed to fall pregnant.
Every Thursday, we give 6 lionesses the contraceptive pill. It's exactly the same as the human pill, whereas it suppresses the hormone that causes the animals to come into season. So we want to make sure that that doesn't happen.
The pills have an added benefit.
It basically means that there is less aggression within the group. Normally what will happen when a lioness comes into season is you'll find that the male becomes extremely protective of her and extremely aggressive towards any other animal that comes within the vicinity of her. So by giving them this contraceptive pill, we're eliminating that aggression.
The park now has an exciting opportunity. With the pride settled, it's the perfect time to try for new cubs.
We're taking Tyra off the pill, and that's basically because we're down to 11 animals now. We have Shane, who is getting on in years, and what we're hoping to do is breed Shane with Tyra and bring up some new male lions to take over the pride in the next few years as Shane finishes his natural life. Morning, guys. Come on, what's this? Pill day. Hello, Tallulah. Hello, missus.
Amy feeds the 6 females their medicine, disguised in tasty meat morsels. The lions jostle for position, so she needs to keep a sharp eye on who's had what.
Abby, come on. Not you. Abby, come on. Come on. Cody. Tallulah, come on. Good girl. Here you go.
Lioness Gemma constantly brushes low-ranking Tallulah aside.
Tallulah. Tallulah. Here, Gemma.
Separated from the hungry lions by just a few millimeters of wire and using sticks to push the meat through, Amy must always keep her wits about her.
Cody. Come on. What's this? Good girl. Got it?
Tyra will come into season in 6 weeks' time. The keepers need to monitor Shane to see how he responds. With age against him, he needs to mate soon. In the wild, animals hunt and forage for their food, often stimulated by the pursuit. The park is constantly devising new ways to mimic this behavior to keep the animals fit and well. Primate keeper Laura has an idea which she thinks will entertain her bachelor group of drill monkeys. The safari park has its own workshop, and the keepers enjoy challenging carpenter Ken's skills.
What you broken now?
Nothing. Ken, I've got a job for you. Do you think you could build a box to go around the ball, so then I can put the ball inside, and then when they shake it, they hear a different noise.
No problem.
And if you've got time, could you please make me another 2? So it's
So you want 3 in total?
3 altogether, please. I don't want it so they can put their hands in, just so they have to manipulate it with their fingers.
All right, okay, no problem.
Cheers, Ken.
Thank you very much.
Drills are intelligent monkeys. The puzzle boxes will provide both mental and physical stimulation. They also reinforce the group's social hierarchy.
People don't appreciate they're very strong. I mean, they can lift, you know, and rip apart 10 times what we can, you know. So this might last 2 days. We'll see.
Drills normally dine on fruit and veg, but for this treat, Laura has returned with some creepy crawlies.
No. Oh, God. Jeez. Bugs. No, that's all right.
Box number 1 is filled with a tender delicacy that should provide a delight for the taste buds.
In this one, we're going to just put mealworms.
Box number 2 will require a little more monkey skill.
You can see that we've just got the shavings, and then within the shavings there's the seed. So what they'll do is they'll shake it, and then it'll all fall out, and they'll have to pick through it.
Once they've worked out how to loot box 3, there'll be more of their favorite cuisine.
And then, in this one, we'll put the straw, which has also got mealworms in it.
The boxes are screwed down tight. It's time for the drill monkeys to try and wrestle them open.
You all right?
Excellent. Yep, all good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But how long will Ken's carpentry survive at the mercy of alpha male Oganis, 8-centimetre canines? Woburn Safari Park is the only place in the UK that is home to North American black bears. And with the arrival of spring, the bears begin shedding their thick winter coats, and their behaviour changes.
They've come out of semi-hibernation, so now they're livening up, and it's actually their breeding season at the moment. So for about the next 2 or 3 weeks, a lot of the times that you'll find a pair of bears in a bramble bush or something. You tend to see them lying out in the sun after they've been busy. They're pretty tired.
Even with all this action, there will be no cubs.
George, our younger bear, is castrated, and our older bear, Ruff, is vasectomized. So you will find that Ruff still behaves like a normal breeding male. He still, he still follows the females and he does mate with them, but obviously we have no offspring from them.
The bears have energy to burn, so keeper Sarah is constantly devising new ways to occupy them, both physically and mentally.
Wild bears spend a lot of the time foraging and finding food and eating, and so ideally we want to try and do the same at Woburn. From time to time, put honey on logs, sometimes with seeds or with berries, and just gives them a little something to work for.
As in the wild, the omnivorous bears share their home with Canadian timber wolves. Feeding time can get a little competitive.
There are a few occasions when, say, you're feeding the bears their fish, and you'll get a few sneaky wolves trying to nip in and steal their food. But likewise, when you put the wolf meat out, you'll find that the male bears will try and steal it from them, so it's kind of fair.
Black bears are one of the least aggressive of the bear species. Keepers are safe, even at close quarters.
They're just so individual. Each bear's character is so different, and they're so cheeky and mischievous and very intelligent. They know when they're being naughty and when they push their luck and the way they can try and get food from you. But they're never aggressive towards each other. It's always playful.
Historically, Asian elephants were housed on concrete floors, creating problems for their feet.
With an elephant weighing anything upwards of 3-4 tons, when they stand on concrete, there's a lot of give, and the give is usually in their nails, because obviously the concrete doesn't move. So what you have often is their nails will crack, and then that opens them up for infection, and you could have a bigger problem.
A solution was found when the park designed its new award-winning elephant house.
When we designed this house, we originally had sand floors and rubber floors, and the sand that we had became very compacted, so the elephants never lay down on it. And we decided, well, what other option of substrate can we give them? So we decided on bark. I mean, that's not too dissimilar from this kind of substrate they'd be on in the wild out in Asia.
The new flooring provides better comfort for the animal's feet, and there are other advantages.
We actually did a temperature test. The bark, that actually was about up to 5 degrees warmer than the outside air temperature. So for animals that are older in age and have arthritic problems, then that could be extremely good for them and a lot more comfortable.
The pampered elephants now have a choice of sand, rubber, and bark. Each has her favourite.
Damini in particular, she really enjoys rolling around in the sand, and then she'll go on to use the sand that she's covered herself with up against the steelwork to rub off and get rid of all the dead skin. But all in all of our elephants really enjoy the bark in particular.
Sure enough, Yuzin and Chandrika waste no time in having fun with the new delivery. Once they've dispersed the bark, it's a game of hide and seek as they root out some hidden fruit. Carpenter Ken's wooden boxes have made their way to the monkey jungle. To add some flavor, Laura smears their tops with avocado. Waiting for their latest food challenge are the tribe of 5 bachelor drill monkeys, with leader Ogani at the top of the group hierarchy.
When we put the boxes out, you'll see they'll all be quite inquisitive at first. They come over, they make their grunt little noises, they're trying to figure out what's going on. And then I see they all respect.
Sure enough, second in command Rourke moves aside as the dominant male Ogani claims his right to examine the treasure first. Even with his powerful canines, Ogani is beaten by Ken's carpentry.
In the wild, they would spend most of their time foraging through their habitats, the grasslands. For the drills, they come from Nigeria, Cameroon area, so it's going to be quite dense forest. So a poser box is very good to try and bring those behaviours out.
And that behavior causes Rourke to assert his rank as number 2 amongst the tribe by challenging inferior Boki. And whilst Ogani is distracted, another male, Donga, the lowest in the hierarchy, tries his luck with another box. Ogani soon lets him know who's boss.
All it is pretty much get off my box. This is my box. I want to play with it. I'll let you know when I'm ready for you to come over and have a look. And Donga will run, but as Donga's running, you'll see that his tail will peek up, and he will always turn around and try and look at Ogani.
One day, Donga may get to the top of the pecking order, but for now, he'll have to wait, as Ogani is still busy, and he may be sometime yet. On the African plain, the eland herd are about to welcome 6-week-old Limba into their fold. In the wild, her natural predators are lions, leopards, and hyenas. Inside the safari park is the Chapman zebra, who pose a potential threat to the calf's life.
There has been an interest, which we thought there would be, from the zebra, which are very inquisitive animals, and they've been viewing it from afar. They just focus straight on something that's different, and they're quite playful, but playful in an aggressive, hurtful sort of way.
Until now, the keepers have kept Limba separated. But now the time has come to release her, and the keepers have coordinated a plan to try and keep Limba out of harm's way. The gate is opened, and Mum Tess heads out. But Limba isn't sure. Tess calls her calf. And finally, Limba responds. The zebra immediately spot Limba. The keepers stay close by in case they need to intervene. For the moment, Limba seems relaxed and happy. The first signs of a problem come not from the zebra, but other members of the eland herd, a bit over-enthusiastic about the new arrival. Mum's quick to issue a stern warning. while she's occupied, the zebra sees their opportunity. The keepers rush in to break up the chase. Limber has held her own, and this time she's outrun the zebra.
They're very clever, and if they split the mother and the calf from the herd and then go just after the calf, then we can get difficulties. But as things have gone, they've gone very well.
Having survived her initiation into the plain, all seems well for Limber. She must still keep her wits about her, as danger will be close by for some time. In the rhino house, 13-year-old bull Otzi is being relocated to Denmark due to his unpredictable and aggressive behavior towards the public vehicles at the park. His replacement, Kai, arrived 2 weeks ago in a large steel container. Once Kai was out, the crate was washed to remove his scent. This should make it easier to tempt Otzi inside. The container has been left here for a week for Otzi to get used to.
Now we just need him to push himself a little bit further in so we can get the bars down and then get behind that and close the doors so he's perfectly secure.
Having already been sedated,
Good boy.
Job done. Absolutely perfect. Couldn't have gone better.
a much calmer Otzi is now loitering at the entrance to the crate.
Well, in the last 24 hours, Otzi has had his sedation, and during that period, he's quietened down, although at times it doesn't quite seem it.
Departure is early tomorrow morning. With a 26-hour journey ahead, the team can't risk loading Otzi at the last minute. They need to get him inside, now. Otzi is far enough forward for the door to the house to be shut behind him. There is no going back. The green gate is operated on a pulley system. Once Nick thinks Otzi is far enough forward in the crate, Keith will lower the gate.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but not yet.
No, I can cut the rope though.
Yeah, when you're ready then, Keith, yeah. Go on, Ots. Go on, Ots. Come on. Come on. Okay, no. All right, good boys. All right, good lad. All right, good boy. Come on, we're nearly there. Good lad.
But Otzi is not playing ball.
All right, good lad. It's all right, good boy. Steady, steady. Steady. Only other thing, Keith, is I'll see if I can give him a bit more food.
Nick heads to the front of the crate to coax Otzi further forward.
There's a good boy.
Otzi is unable to resist the snack,
Yeah, okay, Keith.
whilst Keith seizes his chance.
Good boy. All right, good lad.
Otzi slams against the 6-centimeter thick steel bars, the only thing able to hold back a rhinoceros of this size. He's now secure in his crate, ready for tomorrow's departure.
Good boy, good boy, good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Hey.
Well done, Nick. One rhino secure.
For the moment, Otzi is calm, but will he stay quiet overnight? The 14-strong troop of Red River hogs are one of the toughest beasts at Woburn. Originally from the African bush, they're the wildest members of the pig family. Led by dominant bull Rudy, they're highly aggressive. In the wild, they can defend themselves against leopards. In captivity, they've been known to bite off a finger or two. They too enjoy a challenge when it comes to feeding. Keeper Ben is busy making sure they have to hunt for their lunch.
These hogs are naturally rooters. They're going to root around for any roots, any bits of grass, anything they can find in the ground. So hopefully we're going to recreate that by getting them to push these balls around just like they would the turf and anything else they can find. They do seem quite keen in the background. They're all watching me anyway, so they know exactly what's going into it. They're probably trying to work out how to get the most out of it as well while they're watching me.
But these intelligent animals are watching for good reason.
The adults will realise there's probably a much bigger reward in this barrel than there is in that bull, so they're quite clever. Expect to see them pushing this barrel around first.
The hogs can appear deceptively docile, but the park has to have a strict hands-off policy.
They do look cute and innocent when you can see them just standing around, but they are quite dangerous. And they're just very powerful. They'll crush through anything. They could bite through wood quite easily, so they're always in another paddock while we're in here with them.
Sensing lunch approaching, the hogs are eager to get stuck into the task of sniffing out their grub. The pair of burrowing owl chicks have been hand-reared on mice from an early age. Today, Keeper Terry is taking them out to stretch their wings. Now 5 weeks old, the two birds go by the names Digger and Dodger.
They're huge now. They're starting to flap around and move around a bit. They get about 2-3 inches off the floor now. But yeah, they're eating me out of house and home now. They've nearly got all of their proper feathers. You can just see on their wings, they've got a little bit more to go on their tail, a little bit of fluff on their backs, but yeah, we're nearly all the way there now.
And they're almost ready for takeoff.
They're really starting to build up their muscles now, so a couple more days and they'll really be starting to take flight now, so that's the time when we can't bring them out anymore. But we'll start putting them into their aviary then.
Burrowing owls live in North, Central and South America at ground level on open plains and prairies. So this small hillock is a perfect training ground.
They definitely understand what their wings are starting to be for. They can certainly pounce on things. They are starting to pounce on blades of grass and bits of towel that they sleep on. They can get up onto little logs and little rocks now, but that's kind of, I think it's more luck than judgment. They sort of stumble up on top of it rather than actually fly on top of it. But they're exploring all over the place now. They just love running around and getting out and meeting people.
As a species, their flight is irregular. They have jerky wing beats, then make long glides, and it's not something they learn from their mother.
Flying is completely innate for them. Yeah, they learn it all by themselves. I mean, to be honest with you, Mum isn't very good at teaching them, to be honest with you. They would still go through exactly the same process in the wild. They would still be jumping and pouncing and running around and flying. She'd just be bringing food backwards and forwards. Every so often she'd encourage them to follow her, but they'd still be doing exactly the same outside their burrow, just flapping and moving around.
In the wild, this endangered species leave the nest by 6 weeks and are hunting at 7 weeks old. Here at the park, they'll soon start training to fly with the other birds of prey. Throughout the park, some of the most dramatic moments are the result of aggressive male behavior. That battle to define who becomes alpha male is innate to most species. And in giraffe, it's known as sparring. Although it may not look as dramatic as stag rutting, it is equally dangerous. Acting as a giant ball and chain, the males crane their necks back to gain momentum and then slam them against their opponent. With necks up to 2 meters that can weigh 90 kilos, one strike can be fatal.
They use their necks and their large heads, which are like clubs, because the bones in them are so fused and so thick together, they're quite a lethal weapon against each other. If one of them sustains a bad injury from it, it can knock them out and potentially kill them if they get a knock at the bottom of the jaw or anything like that, or one of the vertebrae can be knocked out of line.
The behavior of the two adolescents, Jake and Icarus, is causing friction amongst the herd. Their aggression may get more violent, and with two calves on the way, a decision has to be made.
With Icarus and Jake, it's now time, I think, to move them on to another collection so they can form part of a different group, so they're not fighting with the male we've got here, where they've got the potential to live a less problematic life.
Their behavior catches on, and some of the young girls have a go. The troublesome duo, Icarus and Jake, still have a lot to learn. Enthusiasm gets the better of Icarus as he tries to mount alpha male, Casper.
They'll try mating behaviours on different individuals in the group, so it won't just be females they'll try it on younger males, and also the dominant male, Casper, they'll try and mate him. And it's just as their hormones are changing.
It's definitely time to move them on. Earth's largest land mammals, elephants, carry up to 4 tons. All that pressure is borne by their feet, and something as small as a nail infection can lead to disaster.
We're just going to call Raja in, and we're going to do a little bit of foot care on him. We do it about every 6 to 8 weeks, and it's just part of our normal health care routine where we check over his nails. Elephants walk on their tiptoes, and they've got a big fatty pad in the soles of their feet. And actually, they've got a digit that comes down to each of their nails. On Asian elephants, you've got 5 nails on the front and 4 on the back. And they'll just use their toenails to actually dig up the grass or dig up the roots.
Woburn's elephants have been trained from a young age to lift their feet on command.
Foot, lift. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. It's pretty good. We just need to tidy up some of these bits here, shape the nail up, and it's looking pretty good. What we use, we've got these to trim off the toenails, a file just to shape them up a bit, and we just use hoof knives as you would if you were working with horses.
The pedicure, despite how it looks, is painless, and nobody knows Raja better than head elephant keeper Lynn.
If he wanted to go away, you know, he would just step away from it. I think he quite enjoys getting his toenails done. When Terry and I first started to do foot care with him, we were sort of speaking to ourselves what we wanted to do, and Raja just came along and was as if he was listening to us, put the foot up and just stood there till we got on with it. So.
Years of experience have taught Lynn the importance of a regular foot care routine.
When I first started working with elephants, we had an elephant that had terrible foot problems, and we ended up knocking her down, and she died under the anaesthetic. So again, this is one reason we want to be able to get your elephant in if you want to do foot care. And as you can see, we don't have to knock Raja out to do this. He's quite happy eating away. You can see here we've got just a crack that's starting to form. So what we'll try and do is just shape that in. And also you want the nail to be sort of blended into the foot, so there's not going to be any infection get in.
Raja may just have eaten a little too much. Better out than in.
Raja, back up. Oh dear, what a boy you are.
The Red River hogs have been waiting patiently. It's time for lunch.
Cupcakes, cookies.
And they are ready for action.
You ready? Come on in. Off we go.
With Ben safely behind bars, the troop is released. And just as he predicted, the larger hogs head straight for the barrel. Spilling the contents, they sniff out the treats, aided by their heightened sense of smell. The younger ones aim for slimmer pickings by taking on the ball feeders. In the wild, hogs are unfussy eaters and will happily gorge on a rotting carcass. Whilst here, they seem to have developed a more discerning palate, and fresh fruit and pig pellets are clearly worth rooting for. Word of the drill monkeys' entertainment boxes has spread. The carpentry department have received another request, this time from the squirrel monkey section.
I've asked Ken to make this little puzzle feeder for the monkeys. So it's a bit like a little monkey wardrobe. They have to work out how to open all of these doors here. So I'm stuffing it with leaves at the moment, and then we're going to put some nice juicy mealworms in there, which is their favourite, so that should work, and some monkey nuts as well, another favourite of theirs. When we give the monkeys something new, they can get a little bit nervous, but once you've got one monkey there, usually the rest will follow.
There's someone else who doesn't want to miss out on the fun.
The other Laura on Jungle wants to try this out on the drills, so hopefully the squirrel monkeys will compete against the drills well enough and show that they're a bit more clever.
I would say, without being biased, that the drills would figure it out a lot quicker than the squirrel monkeys. One, because the drills are very inquisitive. They also have a slightly more intelligence than the squirrel monkeys without putting the squirrel monkeys down.
I imagine the drills will probably just tear it to pieces. I think the squirrel monkeys will be a bit more light-handed, so yeah, that'll be interesting.
Now the boxes have been laid out, let the games begin. Weighing in at 800 grams, the squirrel monkeys are up against the heavyweights. At 30 kilos, the drills are the biggest primates at the park. It doesn't take long for McCartney to open the first door. Agani is hot on his heels, and by simply giving his box a shove, he achieves the same. Combining their brain power, the squirrel monkeys naturally work as a troop. In the wild, they can live in groups of up to 500. Together, they deal with door number 2. Drills have much smaller families, and working alone, dominant male Agani continues successfully with his method of tipping the box. Eight hands make light work of the boxes, and their teamwork pays off as they loot the lot. Successfully ransacked, Agani's off to find his next challenge. Individual strength versus collective cunning has achieved a dead heat. It's the last stage of the rhino relocation project. Having been sedated 24 hours earlier, Otzi has remained calm overnight in the large steel container that is going to transport him to his new home in Denmark. Over the years, his keeper, Nick, has grown very attached to him.
With Otzi leaving, I'm feeling a little bit, well, mixed emotions, I suppose, really. From a selfish point of view, my own personal point of view, obviously I'm sorry that he is going, because I've been with him for about 10 years, and obviously over that period I've gained what I'd like to consider a good friendship, a good bond with him. In that respect, I'm a little bit sad, but then got to look on the other side. It's far better for him to go somewhere where he can go to his full potential. He's in the prime of his life, and if he carried on here, it'd have been wasted. So he's going to a good Danish collection where they've got breeding females. So hopefully he'll be better off there, he'll be happier.
Oh, good boy. All right, sunshine, good lad.
The crate is made from reinforced steel, necessary to carry Otzi's 2.5-ton weight. The only way that Otzi and his crate can be moved is using a crane. It's a tricky business. If the bull rhino makes any sudden moves, it could be dangerous.
Good boy, steady now, good boy, good lad.
Otzi will have plenty of food and water throughout the 26-hour trip, and his sedation will last the full journey.
Good boy, steady. All right, Otzi, good boy.
Nick's voice is so familiar to Otzi that this too should keep him calm.
Otzi, good boy. Otzi, good lad. All right, good boy, steady, steady. Good boy, good boy.
Happy with that? Yeah, happy with that. Drop him down. Yeah, down.
Safely loaded onto the truck, Otzi's time at Woburn has come to an end. He makes his final exit through the park gates at the start of his 850-kilometre journey to a new life abroad. Keeper Nick is going to have to draw on his 34 years' experience with Rhino when newcomer Kai uses his horn as a weapon and pays the price. There's a strange turn of events for the aggressive zebra.
Certainly something that nobody expected. It's baffled us.
And after causing trouble with the older giraffes, Jake and Icarus are heading to a new herd. But it's all hands on deck as the youngsters panic.
Up close and personal through 3,000 acres and 600 animals, all without getting the boots money. That's Safari Park on Sky 3D. We're back behind the scenes for a brand new adventure next Saturday at 9.